We've got ones that can see. Welcome, everybody, to today's show. If you haven't heard this story about the Trump administration and the Department of Homeland Security, well, you're really missing out because we are living in a time period where our government has gotten so out of control, whether it's the Democrats in power or the Republicans in power. These people continue to take, and obviously mock. Because if you haven't heard this story, the Trump administration is potentially going to have a reality show in which immigrant contestants vie for U.S. citizenship and would be a natural extension of Trump's cruel gamification of social life. So you're literally hearing potentially a real life version of the Hunger Games playing out. I've covered this recently with the Squid Game, the popular Netflix series, and how there's so many shows out there, so many movies, so many series that are literally about humans hunting humans for the most part, right? And on this show, of course, well, the plot would be that illegal immigrants compete to become United States citizens. I mean, this is what our government has become, ladies and gentlemen. Now, for those of you wondering what is the role of the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, well, it's supposedly responsible for protecting the United States from various threats, including terrorism, border security, cybersecurity, and disaster response. It aims to secure the nation by addressing these issues through a variety of actions, including counterterrorism efforts, border security measures, cybersecurity initiatives, and disaster preparedness and response. So what are they busy doing? What are they busy doing on your tax money? Well, they're considering the idea of having a reality television show that, of course, would do what? Well, it would just stir more of this race war that the government has created, where they've now taken white people and turned them against black people with all of the riots that they started and were responsible for. And of course, we also know that they've been race baiting with the border when they very easily could prevent people from coming across the border, but they don't want to prevent people coming across the border until they have a digital ID in place. And then everybody will willingly go and participate in it because they've been so worked up over the last couple of years about fraudulent voting and illegal immigrants coming across the border and killing white American girls. I mean, the stuff that people actually believe is unreal. Now, this story may not actually be real. It might just be out there. As we know, the news is not to notify, it is to manipulate. But just the fact that they have the gall to put a story like this out there shows you at this point in time, the government could come out, they could taser you in the nuts, they could tell you that they're going to force vaccines into your body, and still there will be no pushback from the citizens because they have them so divided over issues like this that they will literally be more likely to go along with their government if it means that they're going against their quote-unquote political opponents. But if you haven't seen, these are the clips that are airing on affiliate news stations across America right now.
The Department of Homeland Security is in talks with a reality TV show producer about a game show where immigrant contestants would compete for U.S. citizenship. According to the Wall Street Journal, television producer Rob Warsoff, the man behind Duck Dynasty, says he's been pitching the idea for the show as far back as the Obama administration, but the project hasn't come together. It's unclear how far along the process is, but in a statement, a Department of Homeland Security spokesperson said the proposed show has not been approved or denied. Warsoff says the show is meant to be hopeful that the contestants would be legal immigrants and that losing would not result in deportation. According to the DHS statement, the department gets hundreds of TV show pitches every year, and they all go through a thorough vetting process.
So even if that entire thing is a work, because we know that the news is there to manipulate, it's there to condition you, the fact that we're even letting them put stories like this out there, when the government already pretty much admits that they don't work for you, they already admit and put these stories out there about how your tax money is funding Sesame Street in Iraq and LGBTQ plus theater performances in Ireland. I mean, all the government does is psychologically work us day in and day out. So obviously, you take the story with a grain of salt, but it's just the fact that they would even mention this to us and talk to us about this being a real idea that your government is actually going to be behind. Just shows you how little they think of all of us. So the Department of Homeland Security is in talks with a reality TV show producer about a game show in which immigrant contestants would compete for U.S. citizenship. And again, it sounds like The Running Man. It sounds like the Squid Games. It sounds like Hunger Games coming to you in real life, potentially, right? So, I mean, this is predictive programming 101, right? They tell you that predictive programming's not real. How many times do we have to hear them say, oh, conspiracy theorists have this theory that they tell us these things ahead of time, and then they actually carry, oh, yeah, like the 9,000 movies that were about COVID-19, right? From Outbreak to Contagion, all these movies that came out that literally showed us what our life would eventually be like in 2021 when you locked us up and you closed down cities and you closed down schools and you closed down stores and you told everybody that they weren't allowed to make a living anymore, right? So according to the Wall Street Journal, television producer Rob Warsoff says he has been pitching the idea for the show for a while going back to the Obama administration, but the project didn't come together. Warsoff, whose credits include the reality show Duck Dynasty, told the Wall Street Journal that the show is meant to be hopeful, that the contestants would be legal immigrants, that losing would not result in deportation. I mean, it's just, all it is just working people into more of a race war, working people into more division in the United States of America, when the government pretends like they're your friend, right? And all they do is psychologically work us. So it's unclear how far the process is, but the Journal reports that DHS spokeswoman Tricia McLaughlin said she had spoken to the producer of the proposed reality TV show and that consideration of the idea was ongoing. Warsoff described the feedback from DHS as positive, according to the Journal. Warsoff said that he has no interaction with DHS Secretary Kristi Noem and isn't aware of whether she has knowledge of his show idea, but the concept, even if framed as optimistic, is at best tasteless, and at worst, it could be a form of dystopian art that invokes the universe of Hunger Games or Squid Game. There's no way to disentangle such a show from the policy backdrop of the Trump administration's demonization of migrants as poisoning the blood of the country, its brutal mass deportation regime, and its assault on due process and free speech rights along the way, right? I just love how they constantly throw this stuff in with free speech, and each side believes that the other side's responsible for removing free speech when it's all of them working together, literally playing a game of tug of war with our minds, with our rights. And it goes back and forth, right? You get canceled now. Trump's president. Well, we're going to cancel Democrats, right? And then we're going to cancel Republicans. When the Democrats are in power, then everybody loses the right to have an opinion other than the one that comes directly from state-run media, which really is your alt-right media now, and of course your mainstream media that you see shoved down people's throats on television. So huge swaths of the migrant population in the U.S. are made up of people attempting to escape persecution, violence, and destitution. It seems cruel to derive entertainment from people desperate to stay in the country, as so many others are expelled as part of a right-wing nationalist campaign. So it plays right into it. It plays into exactly what the government on both sides wants, dividing into neo-Nazi, these terms that they're throwing out there that pretty much means, hey, if you're white in America, you're racist, unless you're walking around with a sign that says, I have white privilege. If you're not doing that and you're a male white in the United States of America, well, you're automatically going to be labeled a neo-Nazi. This is all being done by design. They're just planting these seeds over and over and over again into people's minds, when the majority of people really are not on board with some of the ridiculous crap that they're doing. If anything, people want government overreach to stop, and they're pretending like there isn't any government overreach going on right now. Oh, there's no government overreach with Trump. Oh yeah, he's the one who locked us down in the first place with Operation Warp Speed and took free speech away too at the same time, if you were questioning Dr. Fauci and all the other clowns that were telling us how we needed to live our lives, right? So they say even if the show doesn't come to fruition, and I doubt that it will, but the point is that this is out there. This is being discussed like it is a real thing. So people out there see this and they respond to it and they get angry about it and they get more divided over it. And instead, the people should be looking at one another going, what in the world is going on? What are we allowing these people to do? Isn't their job to be working for us? The Department of Homeland Security is talking about making a reality TV show that is similar to the Hunger Games. Are you joking with me? Is somebody out there kidding me that they even have the balls to go out there and do this? So they say even if it doesn't come to fruition, the fact that the Trump administration is even considering it and unafraid to admit it to reporters is damning. It's also unsurprising insofar as the administration has often sought to use art and memes that celebrate the pain of migrants to help give license to its brutal mass deportation regime. Moreover, Noam has fixated on photo ops while standing in front of ICE raids and El Salvador's vicious mega prison, inviting the public to celebrate the mechanics of migrant detainment and incarceration. Trump and those around him are quick to turn everything into a game or a laugh, most often at the expense of the most vulnerable among us. So people need to see stories like this, and they should be holding the government accountable. But because they're so divided over political parties, all the conservatives think that this is wonderful. They think that it's hilarious, right? That they treat human beings like they're in some type of Hunger Games type of show where they'll deport you or they'll reward you, right? Because some of the articles out there are saying, well, the immigrants will compete for $10,000 cash. Look at gift cards to Starbucks, things along those lines. I'm surprised that they're just stereotyping it more and say that they'll give them Taco Bell or something along those, $100 gift card, $10,000 gift card to because that's what they do. And then they work all of us against one another when they're supposed to be protecting us. But we know the Department of Homeland Security really isn't there to protect us from outside invasions, of course. They're there to spy on us. They're there along with the NSA and all the other three-letter agencies to make our lives a living hell. And that's all they've been doing for the last 10 or 20 years now, specifically over the last few years, because every single news story out there is a story to divide us among one another. And that's how it works. It's divide and conquer. So we have a real life Hunger Games type of scenario playing out. The odds are very slim that it actually gets passed, but it wouldn't surprise me if they did put it out there. But the fact that they're even airing this in the news, it just goes to show you the mindset that we have now. What a joke our actual government is. And of course, the conservatives out there will think that this is the greatest thing ever. This is so funny. These people are supposed to be working for us. They make a living supposedly off of our tax money. Now, we know that that's nearly impossible, being how rich most of these people are. They have multiple homes. They're supposed to be making, $100,000 to $200,000 a year, the president. And these people are worth millions and millions and millions of dollars. Yet the people do nothing to hold them accountable for anything. And every single day, all they do is, if they're not gaslighting you, they're psychologically manipulating you into staying in your lane. And your lane is either the Republican lane or the Democrat lane. And as most of you have seen, these people who are deep-rooted in this psychosis of the left-right, believing in it, believing their vote counts, they get angry at people like us for saying that your vote doesn't count. They get angry for us not taking sides with one of the teams. In fact, I'm getting more and more people showing up on my channel. They think that I'm a liberal. They think it's a Democrat type channel because all you do is bash Trump. You never bash Joe Biden. You never bash Barry Soetoro. No. All I do is bash all of them, because what really should be occurring is the people should be rising up against this and not allowing the government, not consenting to the things the government is doing to all of us. If you can't tell by now that this is a psychological operation on the citizens, well, you better snap out of it sooner than later, because this is nothing more than a psychological operation to divide us and conquer us. And it's happening all around us every single day. Whether they put stories like this out there because they're really going to happen or not, it works effectively because people hear this and they get irate. The amount of people that are, if it wasn't Donald Trump that was put in this position of power, playing the role, the character that he's playing, this probably wouldn't work. They took the two polar opposites. They took potentially the dumbest regime you could possibly create If you were going to create a character, you'd say, I'm going to create a character who's so stupid. We're going to literally copy some of the movies from the 90s where we have, Leslie Nielsen playing a brain dead president. I mean, that's the role that Biden was 100% playing. And they weren't even hiding it, falling upstairs, falling off his bike, story after story after story. That created the one extreme. And then you get the other extreme where the president is talking about making his own Hunger Games show, or at least okay with the idea of the Department of Homeland Security making a Hunger Games-like show. So I had to do a video on this. It just seems these stories are so surreal. It is, like I've said in the past, it's like reading The Onion. Like you read it and then you're like, well, this must be some satire blog. Oh no, it's coming right from NBC. It's coming right from CBS and ABC, which, yeah, agreed, those are satire news stations, but they're putting this out to the world as if it's real, actual news, not some skit on Saturday Night Live. And people out there who are conservative are like, that's a great idea. That's hilarious. Let's have a Hunger Game. Oh, and then what's next? Are we going to do it with Christians soon? Right? When all of a sudden, all these ADL laws that Donald Trump is signing, when all of a sudden Christians realize, hey, wait a minute. They're actually talking about Christians here that are speaking hate speech because of what they say about the Pharisees and the death of Christ. Are we going to have a Hunger Games then about eliminating Christians and removing Christians? Are we going to do public decapitations? Is that what we're headed towards? Because it sounds like it to me. Because this just gets more ridiculous every single day in America. I thank everybody for being here. I hope you're all doing well. God bless you and your families as always.